All right, it is Track Shot Chat right here with the Chris Deflorian. We'll call him the Dirt Master.
Yeah, I guess I can go with that name for right now until I mess one up, and then who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, then it'll be the blistered Chris Deflorian because you'll just be beat down across the dirt world out there in Demolition Derby. So, hey, you guys, if you don't know who we're talking to, this is Chris Deflorian. He's from Caledonia, Minnesota. Longtime friend of mine, been in the Demolition Derby for, God, we're going on 15 years, aren't we, Chris?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say that long. Yep.
I really appreciate you keeping me as a friend for that long. So that's kind of the fun part of it.
It's been a I would say a pretty fun road. We've had some pretty fun times, Tix. I know that, and I even stayed at your house for a couple summers when I was up there working and built cars, and it's been probably one of my better friendships I've ever had with somebody in the derby world.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. Hey, Chris, why don't you tell the world, kind of the background of where Chris Deflorian came from and the knowledge of dirt, man. Where did it all come from?
Just a kid, graduating high school, looking for one of them good jobs. Went out on the road, building roads, doing road construction, and kind of derbied during high school when I was younger, and just learning along the way of how to build a hard road, and then doing road construction. And then you go to some of these derbies and you watch some really good drivers get taken out early because they got stuck because a county fair or a promoter or even just a normal dirt guy like myself doesn't understand, you know, how good the track needs to be to put on a good show.
You know, you helped us up at Dakota County Fair for quite a few years up there. That's my hometown track. It's where the Minnesota Throwdown is put on, and we kind of had bad dirt there a couple different years, and people take good material for granted. I mean, people just think dirt's dirt, and I mean that really isn't the truth, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, that one year it rained. I mean, what did it rain? 2 inches before the Derby started, and we ended up, pushing mud to one end of the track and trying to make something out of nothing. And it I think it's, it can really make or break a show, even at a county fair level. I've been to a couple shows in Minnesota this spring and bigger shows, and you watch the first heat and you see some really good drivers getting taken out because they got stuck because maybe they scraped too much off the track and they got through that hard pan and there's maybe some sand underneath it or something. And then these guys are getting stuck, and it's hard to watch on my end of it because I know what I've done for you before and just other people. And even when I've had a few shows here in Caledonia about things, just I take a lot of pride in it. I think the track shouldn't really have an outcome of the show at all. I think it should be all left up to the drivers, just like, we don't ever want to see officials, weigh in the outcome of a show either.
Well, and that's really the tough thing at times like that. When the show is cut short because the track's eating people alive and stuff like that. So as we sit here and we talk about this, bad tracks and everything, I'm actually drawing blank. When was it that you guys had one heck of a track that was just eating everybody alive, and there was people putting their minds together? They tried moisture. Where the heck was that you really started on the national level with these tracks?
So actually, I think it was Sam's first year in Capital City Carnage, and I wasn't really there helping Sam build the track. I was down there actually pitting for Jeremy Blake, and it just, I don't know if the material they brought in was super wet, but it was a real fatty clay, and it was big balls just rolling off the tires, and a guy with big horsepower was sinking right down and stuck, and you could just tell there wasn't a really good situation for anybody. The fans, the arena, Sam, and we, back in the day, I did a wind farm, and we were building the roads for big cranes, and we actually did a soil stabilization where we put fly ash or Portland cement dust and till it into the ground. And within, I think, a couple hours, that stuff would suck the moisture right out of it, and it'd be like concrete. So I was kind of sitting kind of where Sam stands and whatever, and I hollered at him, and I'm like, dude, the only way to fix this is we got to get some Portland or fly ash or, anything. So kind of at the end of that, they got through it, and he ended up running to Menards, and I'm not 100% sure on how many bags or pallets of mortar mix, concrete, just whatever. We dumped and tried to till into the track, and it within the next day, it kind of saved it. It was enough to get 2-3 inches of crust on it, and it kind of took off from there. I was just kind of helped Sam a few times with other things on things he had asked. And then one time I went down to Razorback Rumble with you and kind of learned some stuff from Tori Schutte when we were doing that, came down and helped you inspect and just kind of some of the things he was doing with dirt. And it just kind of made me realize that, there's a reason to kind of maybe go to some of these shows and help, just because, just being around dirt for 20 years, building roads, that, we shouldn't have an issue of vehicles or trucks, cars, any of that stuff just sinking out of sight, or just, some of these guys, kind of it's their vacation spending to come down and run at some of these shows.
Yeah, for real. I mean, and that is kind of the thing. You sit there and you talk about it. We have traveled the country, and I remember down in Arkansas, Jeff Palmer's show down there. We had that corner that just kept sinking and falling out of sight, and we hammered that thing and did everything, and until they brought that scarifying bar out there and actually turned that material and kind of farmed it in and produced a crust on it. I mean, that thing that saved it in that point. So talking about that, I mean, indoor, outdoor, a lot of people don't don't understand, like at Topeka, there's ice underneath that track at times. There's cold temperatures, there's vapor breaks, there's all that different stuff in there that causes a whole different headache of a track. And so tell me, indoor to outdoor, I mean, is it harder to rectify one, or is one place better than the other?
Indoor is just kind of a challenge in itself. You could have the best clay in the world sitting outside, and then the day you go to haul it in there, it decides to rain, or the night before, it could snow. This year before Gold Rush, they were talking snow the weekend before a little bit, and they had the dirt sitting out in the parking lot for the floor, kind of staged so it'd be quicker and easier to haul in. And I called Sam and I said, snow is going to be the worst thing for it. If it rains on it, they had it kind of piled up and sealed off, the water run off, but snow can set on it and then it'll just soak in. So he went and spent, probably another $1,000 and threw a bunch of tarps on it. So if it did snow, it was clean and it wasn't wet. And we got pretty lucky where the weatherman was wrong. And, it turned out pretty good. But, even you go into some of these indoor arenas and you throw dirt on a floor, a concrete floor. And if say they had ice arena in there and they pulled the ice off, but then the floor had some moisture in it, well, that dirt will pull that moisture out of the concrete. And then all of a sudden you got another issue at hand that you're trying to dry dirt up when you don't have sunlight, you don't really have a lot of wind. So I would say, the outdoor tracks, you can, if you got a day to prep it and get ready and it don't rain, it's a lot easier because you can use the wind and the sun. You can use other aspects of Mother Nature to try to help you. But indoor, it's kind of a nature of its beast. I know Rapid City had a really great ventilation system and they had some really good heat in there, because I've never had to put so much water on an indoor track to keep it from not being dusty. And like Peoria,
Well, now
we've been down there and we've
you
been,
beat me to
down to
that one,
Peoria.
because right there with that Peoria, it's like you guys couldn't put moisture to that thing because it just held, it went nowhere. And it was amazing at Gold Rush there at the event center there. When they turned those fans on and opened up the door, you literally felt your shirt getting pulled off your back.
Yeah, it was. And I was actually standing there with he's kind of like the facility director, and he had a, carbon monoxide detector with the sensors that were around, and it was just amazing. You could watch it drop on the sensors, and it was kind of like, just because of their ventilation system. And actually the first night of the first show, I was sitting in a skid loader and I thought my skid loader was running, and I got out because there was, nothing, the screen wasn't on or anything like that. And I'm like, what is that noise? Well, here it was them fans. I mean, it sounded, you heard it where we were standing, like almost like a little jet airplane. I mean, so they could pull a lot of air through that building. So, I mean, that was that could help me down the road if the dirt is a little wet. We can almost dry it out overnight, where other places it's just tough to do. Peoria didn't have that door right outside. You had to drive down through a tunnel, and we actually had the second year we were there, we had the floor on ice, and we put a couple layers of plywood down, and it was real like old plywood, and I almost think that made it better because it sucked the moisture out of the dirt. And so there's just so many different aspects of doing them in an arena, and then just going different places, North Dakota, South Dakota area, you get out by Rapid City, it's a hard pan clay. I mean, it's all pretty good material. You go to Peoria, it's a river bottom, it's siltier, it's just not, it's not the best material to work with. Like Peoria, we had to treat the second year. The first year we thought we could get away with it. We made it through it. I wasn't happy with it, but we got through it. Second year we treated it with fly ash in Portland, and it was game over. It's amazing what that stuff will do, but it also adds a lot of cost to building a track indoors too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you sit there and you talk about different materials. Let's use Vegas as an example. We got out there and they put moisture to it. They saturated the heck out of it. They could not get compaction out of it. I mean, there's just certain types of material that it doesn't matter what you do. It just does not have that compactable Proctor value. And that's kind of the example. Just like Southern Nationals, Iron City went down there and put on that show with JC Molly's down there, and they were at two different facilities, and they just had a heck of a time finding the right material. You get down to Florida, I mean, it's crushed seashells from the ocean, that doesn't have a
Yeah.
compactable factor, and that's kind of the battle.
Well, and that's the thing, it's you almost kind of gotta, in my opinion, pick and choose where you want to have these national indoor events because, Vegas, we were out in Vegas. I was there with you, and Vegas is a dry area. They don't really have per se a clay or a fatty clay or something you can get to lock together with water. Even their roads, when you watch, I've been out there many a times, been out there for the Con Expo and stuff like that, and they just don't have the material to build a track. They can build an asphalt track, or they can build on it, and it'll hold together because they don't have a freeze thaw factor like we do in some areas. But you almost gotta, talking with Sam on, he's looking at other areas to have them and try to, bring this thing to different states. But like I tell them, sometimes it's just difficult. Texas even is really dry and powdery material. It'd be hard to find a clay. Arizona would be the same way. You could probably go out to Utah and do something out there because, you're in the hills, some places where you can find a clay. I think it just kind of is one of them things that indoor national events have to be kind of in the Midwest just because we have such a good clay. I haven't really been out east a lot to see what they have, but, you know, it's just one of them things where if you don't have that material, you can't really do a lot with it either when it's that dry or sandy, like Florida. That was a lot of sand down there. It's tough to, how do you get that to compact or how do you make that hard?
Yeah, and so then talking about that, you have a soft track, a hard track. Now some of that car preparation comes into value. A shallower gear, a wider tire, a less aggressive tire in the sandy stuff. You get a harder track. You got ball joint issues. You got suspension, steering components that are getting abused because it's so hard, and you get a little bit of layover on that stuff. So I mean, at that point also there's a pros and cons to it. And everybody out there who's listening to Track Shot Chat right now, I mean, please understand. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, oh, we know all about tracks, but the general population may not know what it takes to understand how to put a track together at an indoor level and to a national level, and to a serious competition level. So that's where we're hoping that we're bringing this information to you with Chris Deflorian. Has been all across the country doing this kind of stuff, and it's been kind of fortunate to have him on the side and be able to kind of give it to you. So certain times you got to bring in somebody. Dirt is not a very smart thing out there, but boy, it sure can kick your butt at times.
Oh yeah. I mean, even I've done road jobs and other things, and we've sat there, we went and did some work out in North Dakota one time, and it was, we fought that trying to get it to pass compaction and a Proctor test and all that kind of stuff. They were building the runway on it in Gwynedd, North Dakota, and we were treating it the same way we treated stuff, back here around Rochester. And, we ended up talking to an old boy in a bar one night and learned a few tricks from him, what they do out there, because it's a different type of material. So it's, it's just like I always kind of put it towards like a dirt track, circle track racing. All your good drivers are going to go somewhere where they love the track. They're not going to go to Deer Creek or for some reason around us because they had a bad night where they ate up tires and they just couldn't get the traction. They might go down to Independence, Iowa, where it's better. The track was better and they can drive their race. So that's kind of why it sounds dumb, but just kind of put a lot of time into it, because there's a lot of drivers out there that spend a lot of money. They work hard, and they deserve to not get taken out because they got stuck. Not because they blew a tire, but they spun out and their rear ends hung up, And, I get, like you're saying, the hard track's going to destroy some ball joints. It's going to probably wreck some of your steering just because there isn't a lot of give there. But, that's a good driver is going to change tires and work through that issue. I would think they'd rather not get stuck, and be able to drive their way to the win or the victory over get stuck and then take a car home that they can't run anywhere else, or it sits in their garage where they pull parts off of it to build another car or something too. So it's just there's a fine line. I kind of, after the first night out at Gold Rush, walked around and talked to some of the national drivers that I know that, I've ran against or just even friends with, just to see what they wanted. If they wanted something fixed, I want to fix it and make it right, because that's why I'm there, is to not have them upset because the track was that, that deciding factor of their weekend and how they finished a derby.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And actually, I'm gonna make a statement from Gold Rush. I remember after the first night, we went and looked at that track afterwards, and you're like, "Tix, come take a look at this. I need a second opinion on this." And you went and grabbed a bunch of different people. You had some sheeting of the track where I mean, you had 5-inch thick pieces of sheeted clay that were just like pizzas coming off of there. And you guys tore that base of that track apart, farmed that thing, and got that thing laid back in. And I mean, it was the second night, man. It was spot on. So hats off to you guys. I know Josh was out there killing himself with you. You guys did an amazing job. But so reality of everything right here, you guys, is Chris Deflorian. You need any help with tracks or anything like that, get a hold of this man. He understands tracks. He's having fun with them all across the country, doing different things, and making sure that track's not eating up the drivers. You got a pretty good record going right in here, but like you said, there's going to be a time of failure, and you'll be the whipping post. But keep trying
Oh
your
yeah.
hardest and doing what you do, because it's awesome, brother.
Yeah, it's the thing, you can't be on top of your game all the time or be perfect all the time. We're all human and make mistakes, but yeah, I can't thank Josh enough, and even Bobby. We stayed up till, I don't want to say 6 in the morning that one morning, and then we're back out there at 9 in the morning, just trying to make it right. Just because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that gets murdered on Facebook or any of these social media outlets because they spent all their money to come to a derby and they didn't get to have fun. So we're always going to try to do our best and try to give everybody what they need.
Well, it's you've been doing a great job for many, many years doing it. It's always fun being part of it, and obviously, I'm a little bit biased. You're one of my best friends and everything like that. But I just wanted the general population to know. TrackShot wanted to bring this to them so that they could hear it and understand what really goes into the preparation of that track, because that dirt is taken for granted too much. So this is one of those great conversations that we gave, and people can come back and refer back to it all the time. And if you ever want to get a hold of Chris, got questions about a track or anything like that, he is truly passionate to the sport, just like TrackShotLive is. And he's got plenty of information that's free 99 out there. I know you'll give an opinion and help out anybody across the country to get their track to that next level, to try to be as close to the right track that it can be.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if anybody ever sees me at the derby and they got a question or anything, I'm all for helping whoever needs help. It's just part of the game. We're trying to make this sport better, make everybody, have these great shows. So even the normal population comes out and loves to watch it, and might even see me with TrackShotLive at a couple shows walking around. And if you got some questions, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Exactly. And you know what, Chris, I can't thank you enough. TrackShotLive loves the information that you bring to the table, and the excitement you bring to the table. We absolutely appreciate it. And, absolutely, you are part of the family. And like I say, everybody out there, you guys, let everybody know about TrackShot Chat, and pass on the word and everything like that, because it's going to be great more interviews like this coming out and giving you the behind the scenes information and everything like that, just like from the great man Chris Deflorian right there. If you got any shout outs, man, here's your chance, Chris. Shoot it out there, buddy.
Nah, just everybody, just all the people along the way, like Sam for giving me the opportunity, and Chris and Nicole just to they put a lot of trust in me, a lot of money on the line to do it. So I can't really thank Sam enough. And, even Chris and Nicole, they're trying to turn Ultimate Derby into something really good. And, even you, Tix, and, just some other guys that I've helped along the way. It's been fun, and, probably even might see me in a car again here and there. But as of right now, it's going to be a lot of track building. I think there's some pretty cool things coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, it's Demolition Derby, man. We always like change. We always like the excitement. And I mean, it is an entertainment value sport. So let's keep it live. And once again, from Trackshot Chat, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy night and giving us this information. And I'll guarantee you, Chris, we'll be talking again, brother. You take care, my friend.
Sounds good. You have a good night, Tix. Thanks.
All right. Peace, everybody. Thanks so much for following and seeing Trackshot Chat. Remember, pay attention. There's plenty more great things to come.
What, Brockway? You gave up that easy. I just videoed it. I'm gonna send it.
Everyone has to be mature, be butts and nuts, and then there's Bobby.
Fucking Bobby.
Bobby don't like us.